Hey,
Hello, hello. Oh,
Good
where's
evening.
my headphones there? Hello, everybody. All
hey.
right. Hey. All
Well,
right. Everyone got their taxes in?
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like I always get my money back. So I'm always like, this is such a good thing. Like taxes are not a problem. Like I'm just making money. It's cool. Like they teach a kid, they're like, you gotta do your taxes. And then like as an adult, you're like, actually, you just make money. It's great. Okay. Hey, Eric, how are you?
Hey, I'm good. Sorry to have missed the last couple meetings. Glad to be here.
No. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Glad you're here. Glad you're here. Glad you're here. All right. Well, 7:15. Let's get started. I think we have quorum. Let me bring up. Sorry for about the agenda, not sending that out, and then also the links. I know that's really frustrating. Um, but I'm going to get that agenda going here right now. And yeah, so I want to try and just basically, this is the first meeting we don't have any placards. It's amazing. So we want to just frame this meeting as a um, quick policy chat.
yeah.
So we're not like wrapped up and hopefully wrap up by like 8. Because
Stephen,
actually,
I'd like to add
please.
something to the agenda. I'd like to have a discussion regarding icon, and that can be part of the talk discussion about night hours.
Okay. We could also fit that. We could also, how about, what about putting it in terms of active protest? Because technically,
Sure. Whichever works.
I think that's still an active protest.
Yeah.
And late night operations, which is there too. Maybe that's what you meant.
Yep.
Okay.
Thank you.
Awesome. Sure. Yeah. All right. Okay. Let's do the roll call. Commissioner Stephen Hanrahan, me present. Do I count as quorum? Sure. Let's go the opposite way. Eric Olson,
Present.
Kate Klein,
Present.
Rachel Scheckman,
Present.
Stephen Recker said he conflict. Alex Smith, did I see them? Bob said he might have a conflict with when we join later. Eileen Johnson, no. Miss Karen Ball.
Present.
There's Eileen. Hi, Eileen. I'm gonna
Hey.
mark you here. Are you present?
Yep.
Great. Frank Chauvin.
Present.
All right, with the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Form of 6. You start the meeting. Started at 7. The time 19. Okay, awesome. Late night operations and the icon. Uh, yeah, so thank you for being here, guys. Thanks for making it. Hope you're doing well. This is, yeah, the first meeting. We don't have any placards, so it's actually kind of a first, and maybe we could wrap up early, just have like a quick uh kind of policy check-in on some of like the active work we're doing and giving some updates from the ANC side regarding some of the protests. Um, I'll start with that. We do have the committee tracking sheet, and that's linked to the beginning of the agenda. You should all be able to access that. Hopefully that is made public. And then I've even kind of gone myself to there's an active protest tab there to kind of keep track of the active protests. Um, and realizing I actually don't have icon here, but not everything's perfect, but our list is thinning. We've actually, we've signed some, I think we're pretty good settlement agreements. SOAST, we got passed recently, a recent ANC meeting. Posh Lounge actually, the owner Daniel agreed to take down the sign. That was a large community concern, and he has taken it down really quickly. So thank you, Daniel. I don't know if you're in the audience tonight, but thank you. Um,
Hey,
uh,
Stephen,
yes.
on that issue, you know that the community tried to get the sign removed by the orchestrated methods. Department of Buildings gave them a violation. That violation went before the Administrative Hearings Agency, and nothing was done for 2 years. Is there any way that we could wrap up that issue in terms of the system not working? It should have been taken down 2 years ago. They were cited, and the Administrative Hearings Office, I think it's
No, 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 no. The sign is down now, and that issue has now
well,
been resolved.
but the issue is the community got no help on it. And this is a related matter of a 2 year outstanding issue. So I'd like to know if we can have a conversation regarding understanding why that process broke down because the community wasn't
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I think I understand your frustration, but I think that might be better suited for maybe perhaps Department of Buildings, maybe our zoning committee, or someone. But I don't think I don't know what to say about that at this point. I'm sorry for your frustration.
It's not, it's everybody's frustration, and it's part of the due diligence of this city and them enacting laws and violations and a process that works. And I think we've all been unfairly treated, and this establishment for 2 years has operated with a violation of the ABCA code. And so I just think we
I think it's the
deserve a
DOB code.
review of that process. And so
Well,
I'd
Frank,
like,
the sign is down, so count your blessings. I'm going to continue now. So we're still waiting the board order from, I believe, Unity, which is we appealed it. We did actually get a board order that was not in the favor of the ANC's protest. So I believe Unity was granted. The Unity was kind of working for late night operating hours. And they were granted that, and I believe the ANC is appealing that, but I've also heard that they have been operating late night already or are going to transition to. Similarly to VIP Lounge is also intending to go to a protest hearing for late night operating hours as well. Um, we had a very, very involved protest hearing for YOLO Lounge. I think last week. Um, I attended that. It went nearly 4 hours. It was very involved. I think actually, it went nearly 5 hours. It was over 4 hours. It was very involved. Yeah, I mean, I don't really, I think, I don't know how it is going to go. I think the ANC largely being Matt Fay, and our attorney retainer, Kerry Verdi, made a really great effort to bring a case forward. Um, I do think kind of the way that the ABCA operates is kind of within its own realm, that, this stuff is the law, but it's also like not really the law. And so to me, it was like eye-opening to understand, I think that as part of the protest hearing process, like when it actually goes to the protest, they ABCA and like if there is an attorney for the applicant, they kind of bring a ABCA inspector forward to give testimony, and they kind of send out this ABCA inspector to take, find out if there are essentially violations of peace, order, and quiet. Um, it seemed like, unfortunately, this applicant inspector did not see that. Or Kerry kind of tried to challenge some of his testimony that he was only there very briefly in the times of like after 3 a.m. Like he was there from 3 a.m. to like he was there from like 2 a.m. to like 3:10 a.m. But not so much after. Um, but I think going forward, we the ANC might want to work closer or force itself to kind of depend on some of these ABCA investigators for this, for making these protests work and making some of these points. Because it seems like the ABCA board relies heavily on what their testimony is, almost like fore and foremost. So that was interesting. Um, if any of you ever get the chance to attend a protest, I think we have another one coming up recently for Cloud Lounge. They're made public, and so you can sit in the audience. It's probably in the middle of the workday. It's going to be like Wednesday. I think Cloud is Wednesday, May 6th at 1 p.m. So it's in the middle of the workday, but if you can have it on the background, it is fascinating, I think, in some regards. I think in terms of kind of like the procedures and some of the cases made. Um, so I would just give a plug for that. I think you could, or we all could kind of learn. I learned a lot from just kind of sitting in on it. Um, yeah, but unfortunately, we're waiting. I think YOLO and Cloud, we're kind of waiting to hear of some of these like late night hours decisions, which will impact other ones like Unity or VIP, and um, we're stuck in a hard place sometimes. Ms. Gall, you have your hand raised.
Certainly. I now only because I know that I've asked, and I'm sure that at some point we're going to get that nice calendar of events that is emailed to the committee. Is it possible to get those links emailed at some particular point? I know everybody is extremely busy, but it will be so wonderful if we could sort of preemptively have a meeting calendar so that we can put this in our own personal calendars to support the ANC.
Yeah, that's a good idea. And I appreciate you wanting to be more involved. Yeah, let me just make a little note of that. I can forward the one specifically, some of the big ones, like I can forward the cloud protest. Unfortunately, it's kind of like the nature of the beast that like, we're that ANC is like the Protestant for this case, but yet like we don't even get like the WebEx link to the hearing like until 24 hours before, at which point we're trying to just circulate it amongst, the immediate parties who are protesting, like the lawyer, the commissioners, and like any like witnesses. So it's kind of hard, we kind of some things get lost in the shuffle, but I'll make a note of that to try and think about that for the future.
And I certainly understand, but if it's just like if you once you get it, if you can sort of just remember it, if that's possible. We're only trying to support you because that's what we're here on this committee for.
Yeah,
Thank you.
thank you, Ms. Cole. Frank, your hand is raised again.
Yeah, did you touch on? I was having some audio problems. Did you touch on the Unity Lounge motion for reconsideration that was filed?
I mentioned it briefly. Yeah, I'm not sure exactly where everything stands with Unity. I think the ANC filed to
Sure.
try and
I just
appeal.
wanted to. I'm sorry. I just wanted to describe as as a protestant for Westminster Neighborhood Association. We were dual protestants along with the ANC on this. So I was associated with the 10-day request for reconsideration, a requirement which follows the board order. And I just wanted to say that there's legal findings that we may end up prevailing or may not, but there was a 5-page legal review of the errors that the attorney working on behalf of both the ANC and the Westminster Association, Kerry Verdi, found to be an error, and so therefore asked the board to reconsider, including not providing the ANC great weight, meaning
Hmm.
great weight is a specific response to inquiries and not just a generalized response. So if they want to just lob it and say we didn't find a problem, they didn't provide details in that statement. So we've protested, in that motion for reconsideration that they provide a full and thorough review of the legal arguments made because they didn't. So I think there's a lot more to be said about what the ABCA didn't do here, and so that we should be finding out additional. We should have a new position
Hmm.
within the 90 days of that first board order, which then the motion was filed for reconsideration. So we're awaiting that motion response and that second board order on unity. So we haven't lost all hope and faith there yet.
Okay. Well, thank you for that update. Fingers crossed, we shall see. Yeah, fingers crossed, we shall see. Um, Kind of on that note, we got the Apple legal team sent a response to our resolution for late night operations and amplified sound. I did forward that to everyone. I hope you got a chance to see it. It's a little bit, I think we all wish that it seemed like perhaps more greater consideration was given towards the resolution. But I think the legal team pointed us in the direction of like the Noise Balance Amendment Act and ways we could um, change the law to try and um, provide more like legal groundwork to um, operate on. I have some squirrels outside my window and they're just being crazy.
Stephen,
Um,
I have two questions on that. First, why was it sent to the director of APCA versus the board? The board sets policy, and the board may not have been apprised of this matter. And so I'm wondering why we didn't get a response from the board versus, and so that's my first
All right.
question.
Well, for the first, well, here's your question, Frank, because we're still new to this. We're still learning. So I didn't even send it. I don't even know like how this works. Like I don't even know we're supposed to like. I thought in the resolution like someone else in the ANC or whatever it is gonna like send it out to the people. So we didn't even send it out until I had to send. I sent it out myself. Now I know. In like March. So I'm glad we got a response. I'm glad we did end up sending it out. Um, and actually, and I could send. Well, we don't have the link yet, but mark your calendars. And maybe I could add this to the minutes, but mark your calendars. Apparently, the ABCA board is actually going to review the resolution. We've Miguel found out that, and that is going to be. I marked it on my calendar, but we haven't. Again, there's no link yet, but um, I could I could send it all. I could invite you guys. Here, I believe it is going to be um the this day.
And just to
Is it
point on that, Stephen, it may be they're going to review it. Then that's news to me because I hadn't seen that. Because when I send something
here?
I send it to the board in care of the attorney.
Oh no, that's not it.
And so it goes directly to the board. However, my question is that I don't think that this will be reviewed worthwhile in a public setting. They'll go into executive session, so it won't be worth people's time. And if it is, we can just send folks the video because I just think it's going to be happen in a closed meeting because it's a legal matter.
What day
Oh,
is it,
okay.
Stephen?
All right,
You
let me check. Yeah, let me check
cut off.
Miguel's. What did Miguel say here? Miguel at board. Board reviewing. Yes, here we go. 422 at 10 a.m. here. It even has a link. Well, it's just a link. Yeah. This says public hearing calendar.
Okay, would you kindly send that to us so that we can have that information, please? Thank you.
Sure. Yes. Okay. I'll send that over. Thank you. Cool. That's that. Oh my God, these squirrels are crazy. All right. And then so the other thing is so at the commission meeting, at the commission level, I just want to update that, and this is just a little policy chat, but it does seem like there's a little bit of a gap between the commission, I believe, does not fully agree or does not fully believe that every single establishment should have a settlement agreement. I think the commission feels that if establishment has a good rapport of an operator, and they kind of prove themselves, that ways, unless there are real outstanding complaints or concerns with peace, order, and quiet, I think the commission doesn't feel like a protest is warranted. It seems like the committee feels differently, and committee does choose to vote to protest most things, a lot of things. So I believe the last two placards that we were reviewed for spicy water and I forget the other one, streetery were both motioned to protest from the committee. I brought it to the commission meeting, and I think the commissioners discussing it kind of felt that, the streetery had been there for 5+ years. The spicy water is a takeout restaurant. You can't even sit inside. And so, what's the point of a protest and kind of, bothering these folks? And, we don't need, I think, we've heard it was expressed explicitly, like we don't need a settlement agreement with every business. So I'm just the messenger here. I was messaging to the commission what the committee wanted, the committee's view was, and now I'm commissioning to the committee what the commission's view was. So that's just all I have to say on that. Eileen?
I'm confused. My recollection is that we did not protest the streetery.
There were two. I don't know if you were here last month, Eileen, but we had two streeteries. That's right. I don't think we did recommend protest for those, but then there was another one that came last month for service bar. And I believe the committee did motion to recommend a
Okay.
protest for that.
All
But you're
right,
correct. The
thanks.
first two we did not, right?
First two
So
we did not.
that's
Okay.
right. Yep,
All
that's
right.
right. That's right.
David,
Well, I'm not done. Very interesting. You've told us what their view is, and you've told them what our view is, and um, obviously they need more education.
yeah, am I up?
Sure, Frank.
Yeah, I don't view it as they've clearly made the statement, we don't need one for all establishments. I heard that he's a small operator. We don't want to prevent him from continuing to do what he does because there haven't ever been any complaints. However, doesn't mean we shouldn't have a settlement agreement. So I'd like to motion that we have a settlement agreement. It's after the fact. We're not protesting. I think we should put a settlement agreement in place so that he, operates with good faith to the neighborhood, such as trash, such as his operations in a generic fashion. And so,
Yeah, I think Frank, I think this ship has sailed a little bit here. I do hear you. I think that in a perfect world that would be the case. I there are, I think yeah, as I think we discussed, like cold calling businesses or walking to businesses or, a single member districts, potentially they're, doing that on their behalf. But at this point in time, I don't think that's trying, that's just not on the table with this right now. So, but I do hear you. I think it's a good thing to try and do. It sounds, I think, yeah, I feel like I'm kind of torn and caught in a tough place. When the committee motioned for it, I was like, oh, I'll call this guy, I'll reach out, I'll just try to get the settlement agreement done so we don't like have to worry about it before the meeting. And life gets busy and I didn't do that. And so then it came to the meeting and I was like, I don't really want to have to bother him to go to a roll call hearing and the mediation and all this stuff. I mean, I always abstain, but uh for committee votes that are not supported by the commission. But I don't know, sometimes reality. So I think that's just a little bit of a kind of a dash of realism for some of us here that, we just might not get a settlement agreement with everyone. And yeah, we just keep moving forward until we can. But I do hear you. All right, moving ahead. We're doing great here. Eileen, quick
Yeah,
final note on that.
yeah. I think we should make an effort to have a settlement agreement with all operators, whether it's pursuant to a protest or it isn't. Um, they perform a community service. They inform the neighborhood of the obligations and expectations of the operators, and they protect the operators by having clear parameters. I don't see any reason why we should not attempt to get settlement agreements. Maybe after the fact, the ship has sailed, but even when we are not going to protest, I think we should have on record whether someone was willing or unwilling to speak with us and enter a settlement agreement.
Yeah. Um, Thank you. Ms. Gall?
I'm in agreement with Eileen, and I say this in respect to us honoring the commitment to the community. We have a lot of things that transpire through the years. The community, the sensitivities change. However, when you have new businesses to come in and they may or may not be aware of the temperature of the community, what the expectations of the community is, and we need to have a standard agreement with each of the establishments. I think what the problem is because of the language that's used of the word actually protest.
Hmm.
It creates that negative response system,
Hmm.
and it has yet to be addressed, as we have mentioned before, directly with APCA and everyone else, so that there's a clear understanding between a community agreement um, and the word protest. When that usage is that negative connotation is going to constantly create a, a negative effect with the community members, as well as or the establishment owners who really want to have a great business. We just want to make sure that there's a great relationship between the community and the establishment owners, with everyone knowing exactly where everybody stands, not to use it as a tool to cause any strife with the establishment owners, or to have it used as a weapon to harm businesses. I think that that needs to be really clear. And I actually would think that in regards to the policy framework, we need to have that information from the top down, from APCA down, so that they can give that information out to the establishment owners. That way, the agreements between the ANC and any of the establishment owners is clear. So I think that I actually would recommend that we write a resolution that we send to APCA and pertaining to this, so that we don't have to keep visiting this particular discussion on this level, so that everyone can have a clear understanding as to what means what it means when it comes to creating these type of community agreements, because it's very unclear, and it sets the tone in a different direction, so that those who are
Yeah,
uneducated
well, yeah,
about.
what would the resolution kind of be about? What would the resolution say?
I think I was clear in what,
Yeah.
making sure that the language is clear, so that when it comes to community agreements, that we have a standard. The settlement agreement will be the standard for all of the community establishments when they come on board, so that that information is clear from the offset, and everyone would have that same agreement, and so it's not something that's just arbitrarily placed upon an establishment to create any guidelines or restrictions that will cause harm to the establishment's um, operations. But it also would be very clear exactly to what we're asking for, the peace, order, and quiet, as well as
Okay.
the trash
So
and
you're
all
saying you would want to
applicable
call
grounds.
them like a different name? Like I'm just confused as to what this resolution would be resolving. That
You would, because it's actually, I think that the reason why we're having problems with people saying that an establishment doesn't need a settlement agreement is because establishments may, or the ANC commissioners who may not understand that it's just an agreement between a community and the establishment, and not a protest. The word protest is being used in a negative fashion. So is that clear? I'm just hoping that the entire dialogue that I just had was, if I need to clarify it again, I'll be happy to do that.
I think so. I think you've clarified it. Maybe Rachel clarified more. Her hand is raised.
Yeah, I just remember when we did the protest of Spark, Miguel talked about how the language regarding settlement agreements is really scary for people, and asked if there was other language that we could use. So this is an issue that has been brought up by the commissioners as well. So maybe Miguel would have some suggestions that could be helpful in writing something. I think the resolution, Ms. Gall, if I'm hearing you correctly, is aimed towards ABCA in terms of finding different language to use when you would like to um, have a pause in the forward momentum of these licenses so that the ANC has time to write a settlement agreement, whether it be standard or not, and have it in place with the new business.
Well, and also, but it's more on the level of a community agreement that each one of the establishments would have in place, so that when it comes to the opportunity, if there's a protest, it would actually be a protest because of violations that the establishment has committed, and so the usage of the word protest is misused when we're trying to just have a standard community agreement.
Yeah.
And I think that that's clear, and and I think that the language protests versus community agreement has gotten confused, and it also creates uh, a lot of anxiety with our business owners, because they feel as though it's something that is going to smear their reputation or cause harm to the reputation of the businesses, when that is not what we're trying to do. We're trying to make sure that there is a very good cohesive relationship between the community and the establishment owner, with all of the establishments not used as a weapon, which I'm sure some people have done that, but that is not the goal, I'm assuming, of the commission or
Hmm.
also this committee.
Okay. Well, why don't we say this? Why don't we, is it possible, Miss Gall, would you maybe want to take a stab at or get the ball rolling on some language or document to have regarding like potential resolution for what you're saying here tonight regarding the settlement agreements and that language specifically? Maybe it's just maybe it's directly sent to ABCA or something here, but at least it's something kind of like written out that we could like respond to before the next meeting?
Yeah, I think that yes, I think that it will be a great start because I think as long as one, I won't use the word stab because we're going to talk about the positive lines.
Okay.
So we're it's all about the word usage, and then
Yeah.
also if it sets a precedent for how we engage with the community. I mean the establishment owners in a positive way, but we still have those community agreements, which is same as the settlement agreements. It's the same parameters. It's just trying to get APCA to establish that language from the top down, so it's high level, so that there doesn't seem to be a battle when it comes to trying to get these arrangements with our community establishments, new
Totally hear
and
you.
old.
Yeah, totally hear you. All right. Well, maybe we can come back next meeting and talk more about that because I think that's a huge point. And I also think that ties a lot into part of our ANC resolution on the after guide and on the SOPs. So I think there's a lot of we can incorporate that language into there as well. So maybe we can come more prepared next month to talk to bring forward some of that language into the SOP conversation in terms of, what our policy is, if there's a way to change the language of the settlement agreements or ABCA to make it, or how can we try and change, like not have a stigma attached to this word protest because it is heavy-handed, but it also is something we do. And so it's challenging. So maybe we could work on that for next meeting. That would be great. That'd be great.
Certainly. I mean, if there's clarity, enforcement is enforcement, but agreements are clear. But if there's an enforcement clauses that you're trying to enact, then I think that there needs to be a level of clarification on that. And
Yeah.
I just think that there needs to be some rebuilding of relationships so that the business owners don't feel as though they're at war with the ANCs when they come up to establish their businesses. Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks. Okay. All right. Moving ahead. Rachel, I think I now skipped over the active protest, but do you want to talk about ICON at the end with Noise Balance Amendment Act, maybe?
I think it's more about late night hours, but
Late hours. Okay. Do you want to, because I guess now I'm kind of looking at administrative and policy.
yeah.
Do you want to talk about,
What is the status of Icon currently?
I don't know. Actually, I don't know. There was Miguel said, let's huddle tonight on Monday. And Monday was a beautiful night. And I was like, let me go for a short little run without my phone. And it turned into a much longer run than I thought. And I came back and totally missed them. And he said he talked to Francois and he said he'll fill me in. And, life happens.
Yeah.
So I have no idea. I actually don't know.
'Cause I had heard that there were rumblings about agreeing to the late night hours, and just I have concerns as a member of this committee. I know that ABCA might allow for late night hours for some of these other establishments despite our protests, but we have a resolution that we created, and this is a business that's new to DC with an owner that's fairly new to DC, and it's an unknown. And I just want to put a motion out there that we um try to honor that resolution here.
Thank you. Thanks. I think, yeah, I hear you. I don't know. I don't really know where things stand. I thought we made a pretty good settlement agreement, and the owner was really pushing for late night operations,
Hmm.
and we really tried to hold our ground. And I think we kind of came up with a little bit of a compromise that they are they have a multi-purpose license endorsement, so that enables them to participate in NPD's reimbursable detail.
Hmm.
And so the settlement agreement was requiring them to hire two members of the reimbursable detail when they're going to go late night.
Hmm.
So if part of our concern, if large parts of our concern about operating late night are, our crime or our people around, I think that having the direct presence of the reimbursable detail on the street, in the vicinity, adjacent and next to the
Yeah, but it doesn't protect the people who are walking home, which is the real big concern, I think, when people are talking about it's not concern necessarily about what's like on site. And I think the other concern is that there are homes behind there and it's an unknown business, and we don't know that they're going to respect um the noise ordinances yet. And I think that maybe putting in a stipulation that they come back in a year to discuss it once they have a known track record would be appropriate.
Mhm. I hear you. I hear you. I was advocating for this. Um,
Yeah. And I think it's a problem if the committee or the commission is going to ignore the what's coming out of the committee
mhm.
also.
Let me try to bring it up with some of the other commission members and see where things stand. But thank you for bringing it to our attention again.
Can I just touch on that? I mean, it's not this committee's will only. I mean, the ANC approved opposition resolution to 6 a.m. operating hours. So the question is, are they going back on that?
I believe the answer is kind of a bit of a compromise, is saying that, well, the resolution didn't say anything about hiring police officers. And it's kind of a pretty big thing to hire police officers. That's
Hello,
pretty good.
Stephen. But let me tell you, someone who's been intimately involved with the RDO program, they don't have enough officers to fill the positions. Nobody's filling
Mm,
them on U Street because they're too
mm,
hard. They go to the easy jobs where they can just stand around. They don't do crowd control. Okay. They generally, okay, they stand there and that's it because nobody on this commission and nobody in this community has spent time help ensuring that the program works and it doesn't work. All it
mm.
is a line item in a settlement agreement with an agreement between the police and ABCA saying that there'll be an RDO program. And that's it. It stops and it doesn't really work. And there's not a lot of, conversation on how to improve it. So unless there's
Yeah,
going to be a conversation on how to improve it, it's not a worthwhile endeavor besides to say we did something and it's on paper. So that's my 2 cents there. Thank you.
that's a great point, and thanks for the context. I don't know too much about it, but I have heard that. If they are no RDO's officers, though, they would be in violation of their settlement agreement, though. So that's something to cite them for.
Yeah, but then getting actual enforcement on it is next to impossible. I think the issue is that enforcement is next to impossible to get from UPCA. And so having something a little bit stronger now with the agreement to come back and negotiate later with a new business is more appropriate than being like, oh, yeah, I guess you're a good operator. You're someone we like. But these other businesses that have asked for an all-night license, we're protesting them. No, it doesn't sit right with me, and I just want to like have it on the record that I am very against this as part of this committee.
Gene, your hand's raised.
Yeah, hi. I just want to say to share with you all what I've heard from other operators about the RDO program, and that is that they can't get the officers. It seems to coincide with the fact that we're understaffed with MPD, but also, so you have to volunteer for the RDO program. And if you don't volunteer, they literally don't have the staff. And what we've heard, and I can't prove it, I don't know, but they make more getting paid overtime, which is what's happening with so many of our MPD. They get paid more and it goes towards their benefits and everything else other than getting paid the RDO. Now, I don't know if all that's true, but I do know that operators that participate, like Echo Stage, he is desperate to be able to have an RDO program and had it for years, but I don't know, along with the pandemic, and it wasn't a priority for our last chief of police, and the program is failed. It's failing if it's not totally failed. So I just want to share that. You can put whatever you want in the settlement agreement, but APCA can't make MPD show up. And I just want to, like everybody's struggling. I just want to share that about MPD. All right.
Yeah, I just
Thank
like to
you.
add on to that. I mean, Gene's mirroring what I said, and the issue is if it doesn't work because it's not operating, it's BS when it comes to adding it as an adequate term to protect the community. So what else do we have? And that might
Well,
be,
it's a smart idea. It's a good idea.
well,
I
of
didn't know it
course,
was
on paper,
broken.
it's a good idea. That's why it was established 20 years ago. But if
Yeah,
it's
it
not
worked
working,
for years. Jim Graham created this program and it did. It worked for at least 15, 20 years. But
so
the pandemic and everything that happened after that, it's not a priority for whomever runs it or the
Yeah, it's unfortunate.
organization that, so anyway.
So there should be alternative language added. If there's no officers available, then private security should be obtained and hired out there by the establishment. So, I mean, there should be an and
Okay.
or,
And
because we
maybe
all
make sure
know,
that they're licensed and such too, because private security can mean a lot of different things.
Yeah, they
agreed.
would have private security normally, I believe.
Right. So it needs to be something beyond private security. I think there are like licensed.
Licensed private security.
I don't know security in DC, so that's just I just want to put that out there that we need to make sure it's the right kind of security.
Yeah.
And it's also about the noise too. So it doesn't address the noise factor. And so if you have a
Hmm.
business
He
going,
did he did do outreach to the nearby senior home, and they sent a letter of support
okay.
for the establishment. Kate, your hand is raised.
Yeah, I have 2 points here. There are dozens, if not a couple hundred condos between right next door and across the street of where this establishment is going in across the street on 11th Street. Um, so the noise in the neighborhood is of concern, especially in these late night operating hours, which, if I recall correctly, MPD expressed concern with late night operating hours because of the shift change and the staffing challenges in the ability to respond in a timely manner during these late night hours because of these staffing challenges. I simply do not understand the the commission's position of hearing one thing from MPD around the concerns from a public safety situation and then adding in a settlement agreement, a program with MPD that is strapped for resources in a situation where there aren't officers who are on a normal shift during this time. So I'm a little bit frustrated with the commission's decision on this settlement agreement.
Thank you. To be clear, there is no decision you made on the settlement agreement yet. Something kind of happened at the 11th hour. And it's actually a little unclear what the future of Icon will entirely be. But if anyone is interested in weighing in at the commission meeting, please attend May 6th or 7th.
It looks like Icon is opening on May 1st, though. So how does the commission meeting happen after Icon is opening?
I, you know, I don't know. There's a lot of stuff going on, and some of the stuff I, I, I'm not sure about. Um,
So I would be happy to attend that meeting, except I will be out of the country at that time. So if someone can go, I'm happy to connect and discuss things offline to
Yeah,
to make sure that there's some good language.
I can be available for the May 6th meeting.
Great. Okay.
And I'd just like to explain that process. There may be a stipulated operating agreement that's just on basic standard operations that ABCO may allow a licensee to operate under until their license is provided or renewed. So
I think John was also hoping that the settlement agreement would get approved at the April meeting. So I don't know. I honestly don't know. Uh, it seems like a change of events every week or two with Icon. So we'll stay tuned. But thank you for that insight too, Frank. That also that you might maybe that's right. I don't know. Okay. Um, moving on. Thank you for a great discussion on Icon. I sent an email about the alley walk. That was funny. What did I call that email?
Part of
Rats?
the 9.5 Rat Super Force or something like that. Did you
Rat Super
receive my
Force.
response?
Rodent
Because I
Alley
sent my
Trash Super
response to you.
Force. Yes, I saw you said I responded. Too bad Alex isn't here because Mario sent a great response. I actually think we have someone, Sudha is here from she's around that neck of the woods. We could have included her too as well.
Is she on the email?
She's not. We could add her. We'll add her.
Right.
Uh,
And I
yes.
gave you the history of what I've done so far as from the fall of last year,
Mhm.
and the tracking that we've done in regards to the mayor's office, the fire marshal, and also the safety plan that we had, how things were proceeding and the timeline. So, did you want to? Are you trying to implement that super force within this particular committee and just have it like a meshed of
Like a
the
sister,
committee
like a
member?
cousin, of the
Okay.
committee, some members of the committee
Okay.
here and some other folks. All right, thank you for this is a great response. I need to spend some more time going through what you and Mario sent back because I sent it late last night and then y'all sent it back also even later. I was like, wow, okay, dedication is here. So let me spend some time to go through these, and respond back and see where we take it for the next steps. But thank you for that. Thank you for the response.
Oh, you're quite welcome because I want to make sure that you start off on the right foot and have a full history of what's going on so that there's no confusion
Yeah,
because there has been a lot of work that was put into it, and I shared my opinion. So I'm happy that you're open to listen.
for sure. Thank you, Skull. That's great. Cool. Um, okay, actually, with that next item, we have about the streetery language. And then you actually responded to me earlier too. It's all about the streetery, and I didn't get quite a chance to look at that. Let's see. Send
It's
me
the
again.
same. It's the same one
Same
pager
thing.
that I sent last month, but I think Rachel, I think that there was some confusion as to whether or not I don't know. Did it reach the committee? Did you share that out to the committee so that they could see that, Stephen?
Yeah. I don't know
I'm
if I
not
did.
clear.
Yeah, let
Be-
me try that maybe for the next meeting.
Because I think I
Um,
just shared that out with you, Stephen, and you, Miss Gall.
Okay, and so and what the concerns that you had did you see my response, Rachel?
I
Just
did.
okay,
Yeah.
great.
I think the main thing was like Stephen was asking for a shorter paragraph, and I was kind of like, well, I made suggestions so that we could put this into like the main settlement agreement. And so instead of having just like one small paragraph, is having a sentence in each section that already exists in the settlement agreement that like this is what applies to the streetery, and then having that as a draft for the streetery businesses, and then have a different settlement agreement for businesses that don't have one.
Right. And I'm just hoping that I certainly agree with you as you saw I mentioned.
Yes.
I just wanted to make sure that we were all on the same page. The one
Okay.
page being the main page and the the reference materials that I drafted, so that that could be used in case we ever need to use that to call upon it. So that information should have been shared to the committee.
Okay, so I'll share it for next
Stephen.
time. I'll share this. I'll share this standard here, and then we're going to dive into next time more with the SOPs because it looks like I those links didn't work too. So
Mhm.
we'll dive into more of those next time for sure. So we'll dive into
Excellent.
SOPs and then streetery, and then we'll also talk about what we were talking about earlier. Let's go with the protest language or something like that too. So we can make like a big thing on that next meeting.
Okay, I'll put that on my committee work for the next one. And then also you have the calendar information to forward to us on your list of things.
Yeah,
As well.
I'll try, but I'll forward that as best as I can when I get things myself.
No, I'm just talking about this May one that for
Oh
cloud.
yeah, the cloud, sure. Yeah,
Okay,
I'll try to forward
that's
that.
number one, but the secondary is to just make sure that we're much more informed for the other ones. And I'll put that on, you know, I'll try to see what I can do to assist probably earlier in the month for next month for the resolution information. Okay?
All right, okay.
I'm not
Sounds
adding
good.
anything else to my calendar for this month.
Sounds good. Sounds good. All right. The final item on our main, well, actually let's then also kind of inactive, but talk about the ABCA board representation. Just having someone represented from Ward 1 might be worth a resolution. Maybe depending on how all these protests go, get get we'll see how they all turn out. So that might be a good, maybe like a fall item. Uh, post protest decision, post board decision. Um, Noise Balance Amendment Act. Yeah. So finally, last item here, and then we'd love to wrap up. If we could just wrap up in like 4 minutes.
Yeah.
The Noise Balance Amendment Act. Rachel, do you want to take us away? And I could let me just screen share. Do you want
Yeah,
to
will you
start just
screen
kind of
share?
yeah, you want to start
Yeah,
talking about it and
so
then
I wrote some language and I put it in the order of like the top part was like here are the issues and then the second part is here are the cures. Stephen is going to take a stab.
yeah, and I'm screen sharing now. This is actual like the language. So just to get
Yeah.
look, this is it. This is the document here.
Yeah. Oh, that's not the Google Doc.
This is not the Google Doc. No, this is the actual like the legislation. Let me share the Google Doc.
Yeah.
Okay.
So basically, I looked at the legislation and then I looked at what complaints have existed, and then I got weigh in from a community member, Suda, to because she's been super vocal on in issues with the Noise Balance Amendment Act. And then I took her suggestions and tried to like incorporate them in what there were I tried to include the ones that were related to the Noise Balance Amendment Act and like build out some language that we could put forward. And then
Can you guys see this?
Steven's going to take this document and he's going to change the order a little bit to highlight our support in A, like things that we support in part A.
Yeah. You guys can
Part-
see this, right?
Yeah.
I'm
Part
sharing.
B will be
Yes,
recommendations.
it's on the screen. We can see it on the screen.
Okay, cool.
Yep. Part B will be recommendations of additional language, and then um part C would be things that were not in the act but should be. Um
Yes, that's right. That's right. Yep.
And then what I would like, and I think Stephen would also like, is if people from the committee can take a look through this and like make some comments, make some suggestions. I flagged that I wasn't sure if like some of the sound code already applied to the streeteries. Like I think that they're not allowed to have entertainment at all per the DOB standards. I don't know if we want to push for it to also be in the Noise Balance Amendment Act. But I did create language around the uh um the summer gardens and tried to make it so that there are like hours where the summer gardens can operate with entertainment, and then hour quiet, like basically quiet hours where it has to be um not audible inside of people's homes.
Rachel, could you add the information that we did have in the streetery language about noise into it? Do you want, you still have that information? Do you want to just plug that in
I
if
guess
it
we
So
could.
works?
so
It's hard
this
to pull from a PDF, but
So this would also be so this might be a little bit different because this is specifically a resolution about the Noise Balance Amendment Act. And
yeah.
so that Noise Balance Amendment Act, again, why did I should have just shared my whole desktop, but sometimes other stuff is there. Okay, bringing it up, sharing desktop. So the Noise Balance Amendment Act is this kind of language here. Um, and it's so I think we just want to be to make a strong resolution, we want to be specific in the things that the noise resolution is, A, saying that we support, B, saying that we support, and or C, don't mention at all that we should have. So, potentially there could be a little bit in that C section about streeteries. Um, I think we would gain most by saying things that we support in the language, and really that B section of things, we support and are specifically. So things that are kind of already in the scope of the legislation.
So the dialogue, the language is, it pertains to the actual structures. So I'm assuming that once you're inside of the structure, if it, since it says inside of a building, outside of the building, etc., that's where the noise amendment act should, basically that's part of the scope of it. So a streetery is an actual structure, just as the actual establishment is. So I was just
All right,
saying
okay.
that I don't see any reason why we shouldn't say and streeteries, or just add that verbiage so that it's applicable, especially since we're going into that land of streeteries right now.
All right, okay. Actually, we could add even here, like you could add like section 2.5. You could add like it says garden, summer garden, cyber cafe, streetery. Could be like
Right,
and streetery or
Yeah.
something like that.
And
right.
that's why in the document that I put together in the Google Doc, I tried to do that a little bit. So I will also question for like Frank, Miss Gall, others, are the windows and doors closed rules already part of language, or is that just part of our settlement agreements? Like, does it make sense to add language around ensuring windows are closed when entertainment is in, or amplified sound is in? Should we add that language in?
Well, because the streetery is legally outside, I'm not sure if I can't answer to that.
Well,
Um,
this is about noise, like
Yeah,
right.
this is just noise in general.
Right. The amplification is, um it's an important parameter in regards to the streetery, you know. The so I think that, and then what, isn't that 15-foot rule? Um I think that's
Yeah,
probably
that's
where
the
that
new
starts to,
language.
right. I think that's where that starts to apply. So I think that that would be the lane that I would go down, Rachel, a little bit, to see how that can be implemented into what you're writing.
I think Ms. Gall's right there, actually.
Yeah, I agree that we just add streetery to that enumeration since they include a summer garden and a sidewalk cafe. So why would not streetery be also in that phrase?
hmm yeah, I think that makes sense. That seems like a good place to kind of put it in there. Okay. Well, it's almost 8:20. I really have to hop to something else actually. But this is great. Let me send like a
please
file.
feel free to throw some comments and language in. Like I would love comments in the doc. if people want to weigh in.
Rachel, this is good. The doc is good to share with the committee.
Yeah, it was you put it in the agenda, didn't you?
I don't know if I
It's
did. You
just the
sent a final
PDF
copy.
of the
It
Oh,
actual
it's just PDF.
legislation.
it's just PDF of the actual legislation.
Okay.
You sent a final copy.
Yeah, you can
Maybe
send it to the committee members in an email. I think that would be the best so that the Google Doc link is not circulating around on any like because it's editable.
Right, and you don't want it out in the community and
could you put
such.
in like track changes or something like that? Like,
Yeah, do make changes and track changes if you're going to make track changes or make changes and yeah,
you can
or make
al
comments.
you can
You
maybe
use
allow
comments.
permissions to be like only like comments or like track changes, like not editing or something like that.
I think you have to yeah, I don't know if I can let me see if I can make
I
that.
don't know. I don't know. All right, I'll send it out. And I'll send out the PDF to the legislation, and then the send them as calls PDF. And then we can and the SOPs, and then we can and hopefully I'll send them in a way that you can all access them. And then we'll plan to meet next month and like really hopefully we'll get some we can even work on email in the meantime to kind of talk about some of the stuff so we can like actually start to boil these things down to things with the goal of like, come June, we want to have policy, July, we want to like policy stuff done, maybe take a month off July or August. And then we'll have some, I think, like retail renewals coming up this fall.
Hey, Stephen, just real quick, Suda had put some questions in the Q&A.
Oh, I see this now with sharing screen. It's hard to see. Okay. Okay. Hi, can you please hear me? Hey, Suet, do you want to jump in here and ask your questions? Can also answer them here too. Um, yeah, so again, so we're not sure public testimony. It doesn't seem it seems like this is a little bit unfortunately dead in the water. The council is um, you know, transitioning. The mayor is going out, Nadeau's going out, Duffy is going out too, or has left. So um it's a little bit we want to put some pressure on it and we want to be aligned with ABCA because I think ABCA introduced this. So we want to be like aligned with them to hopefully make a unified push to council. But it's kind of seems a little bit dead in the water right now. So we don't know what the next steps are.
Oh, okay. Got it. So it could be several months before anything even happens, it sounds like.
It could be a couple terms.
I'd like to say that the council member Nadeau's office staff has told me they're hiring a staff member for their committee. All right, their DPW committee, I guess, because it's now under the jurisdiction of DPW and not the Economic Development Committee that went away when McDuffie resigned. But they're hiring staff, and they didn't give me a timeline, but we can still have some hope that they will bring a staff member on and help work through this bill and a few others.
I think I heard that as well. That's interesting. Thanks for sharing, Frank.
I know you have to hop off, Stephen, but I
Yeah.
do quickly want to know what's the end goal for your SOP evaluation? You want us to evaluate it as committee members and to see if we can add to it? Is that the end goal?
Check the resolution. I linked it the resolution. The resolution kind of like outlines kind of like, just basically the end goal is by the end of the year, we want to kind of come up with like what we learned and like, spell it out into something that, we could have for the future.
Okay, I didn't check your resolution. I just thought you had some next steps that you wanted us as a committee to work on together with you.
Yeah,
Okay.
I do, but I'll check the resolution. I'll send it out again like after this meeting so that like we'll have it like everything ready. You'll get it like on the back end of the last meeting to have it ready for the front of the new meeting in a month.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. All right, cool. All right, I gotta run. But great, pretty quick meeting, guys. See everyone soon. ANC meeting the first Thursday in March, in May. Stay cool out there. It's hot. All right.
Have a great evening. Bye.
Bye.